Hey, so okay, I think I'm ready now. Hey, how are you? Welcome back to this Global Hack Week, AP week. So, in previous, I was able to give a session to get good with Git. Then we start our journey in the RESTful API part one, where we learn all the basics and theory behind these layer of the HTTP protocol, right? Um, so if you missed part one, don't worry. You can go ahead and go to ghw.mlh.io and you can check there the agenda for future events and also challenges and stuff, but the recordings from previous sessions. I'm going to share the link with you, and as always, I invite you to comment here. I like to read some of your comments, and during the session, I'll be reading them and I'll be answering the questions may be appearing. So, that mlh.io, and you can head here. And since I'm sharing links, I also want to share with you the oh, I missed my previous track. Sorry, the link for the check-in, right? So please remember to check in so you can win your community points. Perfect. So let me know. Do you watch the part one? Anyone here? If no, don't worry. Remember, you can go to the Global Hack Week page and you can find recordings in our YouTube channel. And in this session, we are going to apply that knowledge and we are going to build ourselves our application that's a back and a front, right? Actually, I was planning these to be three sessions and then it was reduced to two. So in this one, we need to hurry to build our full application, and we are going to use JavaScript for that, right? So let me start sharing my screen and we can start with this. I think that's enough time for you to pass the ad wall. So here we are. Here's the screen. And also I'm going to remove myself because I'm going to be added here. So here I think it will works better. Maybe if yeah, that will be the better. Great. So you see my screen now. Maybe I can make this bigger. And we're going to build the backend, of course. The objective of this session is going to be build and create a setup from the app. In this case, we're going to use Node with Express, and we are going to implement all CRUD operations for our application, applying the concept of middleware and error handling, right? So we are going to make a simple application that create tasks like a task manager, so we can create them, upload them, delete them, and maybe if we have time, because again the time is not going to be a help here, we can add things like comments. If we can move this to be like instead of task posts for any blog you may be wanting to create or etc. Well, this could be um, and we are going to skip this part and we are going to return them to the discussion. But let's move to the code. Here, this is what we previously worked on. I realized I had an issue. I had an extra slide, so let me remove this one. Perfect. And here in backend, let's create a new file. That's the index.js. Okay, that's great. Any other change I want to do? Oh no, I think that will be all. And let's first set up one thing. Well, no. Sorry, I was thinking of another thing. Let's first create the server, right? Let's create our initial backend so we can now start making requests to remember the endpoints we talked before in the application. At this point, I want first to create the endpoints and test them locally on the Postman, but not on frontend directly, because we are trying to mock a flow where we don't have a frontend yet. I know in this case we are like working them simultaneously, but the idea is to make these asynchronous, right? So let's first work on the backend. Let's generate a simple Node.js app, and for that, I I want to use the help of no. Oh, what was there? Oh, I don't want to use root this time. Oh, Copilot is not working. Okay, I wanted to use Copilot, but I see this is not working. Yeah, I need to restart extension. Give me a second and I'll do that. Sorry, that was a weird thing. Okay, it's refreshed now. So in the Copilot edits, okay, again, not working. What is that? Okay, I'll do one thing that's closing this completely. Now let me close REST API and let's see if we have more luck with that. Okay, extensions are loading. Hmm. Open chat. What about compiler edits? Getting compiler edits. Okay, maybe they do something. Well, I'm sorry for the stop here. I just wanted to use Compilate. I don't know if they changed something over the UI, but I think in this case we'll use regular Compilate. Um, I'll just say, since this is a simple and straightforward application, I'll just ask Copilot to create the server, and then I'll explain what's happening here. Um, create a Node.js server with Express that serves for backend for tasks app. We'll see what it gives us. Uh, the options tells here. Oh, let me make this bigger. Of course, I'm sorry. I think that will be enough for you to take a good look at. Our task backend tell us we are going to have a source that contains the index, the controllers, routes, the models, and the config. The config it's for us to connect to the database. The models it's how we plan to create the task model. In this case, um, how it structured the schema for this. The routes are simply the reactions or the endpoints we want to do, and same as the controllers. So index it's just going to be the full application serving this. I just want to make a change here. I'm going to say in my current folder, I want all that, but outside the task backend there. And that's it. Yeah, let's create folder, workspace, and let's select that parent folder, and we are going to create all of that. Also, probably I need to remove this backend one since they will be doubled. Yeah, two backend ones. So inside this, I'm going to say no, no backend, no readme, and no package. So this backend one I can delete. I'm going to have a slides one, but here let's the readme on what this is. This is a simple task application built with Node.js and Express. It provides a RESTful API for managing tasks. Let me remove myself here. Task, okay, no, nothing too concerned, including creating, reading, and updating and deleting tasks. Here I'm just want to be very specific for you. This is truth, right? The project structure, it's the one we mentioned before, plus we are adding one more. That's oh, that's the slides and contains presentation slides. What else? Uh, 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 check correct information here. Again, for these, I'm curious. Okay, yeah, perfect. Now I'm curious why we don't have. Well, here in slides, what I have it's the README, and I think I won't be adding any other contains presentation slides in more format. Perfect. The installation, if you want to repeat this, it's the command repository. Uh, uh, we can, I don't want to include all of this. Navigate to the project directory. Yeah, the backend. Install the dependencies and start. Perfect. And I'm going to delete. Well, no. Uh, I'm not going to delete this yet, but we need to get back and change what this does. Also, for the configuration, make sure your MongoDB connection is set before starting the server. And for that, we probably are missing one thing. That's the .env. And inside the .env, for the moment, will be empty. But don't worry, I will make the appropriate changes and make sure to configure blah 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 license. Okay, perfect. So we have ready our README. one correction here. Should have a language specified. This is Bash. This is Bash 2. This is Bash 3. What else? Yeah, on the line. Any other change I need to make? Uh, this is plain text. And okay, perfect. We can continue now. Well, let's check that we need Express and Mongoose to connect to our servers. And in the dev dependencies, this recommends to us Nodemon. Nodemon or Nodemon, it depends up to you. It's for us to make changes and then updating the project without ourselves having to close it and reopen it. Well, the Nodemon will do it for us. And for that, we have a script that's the npm run dev. So again, this is amazing, and let's say thank you so much, Copilot, for creating this. In the melee hacking, we also have a great demo if you have attended one of our recent hackathons in which we show how to do this using Gemini. In this case, Copilot uses the GPT model, GPT for zero, for O, however you want to call it. And this works, and I have to be very specific. This works because there's a lot of documentation, there's a lot of examples of already made servers, right? So these kind of tools can help us so much as right now to set up project really quickly because there's a lot of information on how to do that. You can use these kind of tools once you master the initial setups, once you master the initial concepts, right? And for this example, we need to verify, that's what we're doing here, that everything it's correctly set up and everything is being done as you planned. So again, make use of artificial intelligence, but use it responsibility, right? You use them being aware of what is happening and that some problems may occur. Don't worry, you can solve them, right? So let's continue. In our main page, actually this index it's empty. Oh yeah, because we have all on our side source. So we have the index here. Actually, I think I created this previously, so I can delete it. Uh, Let me, yeah, the main packages cells, the index should be the one in the source. So inside source, we have our index. This index, what is it's requiring the Express and Mongo and Mongoose, sorry, packages. I like to make a difference. Of course, we are going to require the env, but actually, I don't know. Well, yeah, in the here, also the connection to the database that requires the config of the database, the task routes, and here it's where the magic finally happens. Express, it's a function that'll create an Express application that it's being stored in the app. So app, what it does is that it's contained our full server. We are going to use one thing called a middleware to make sure, in this case, we're going to use express.json, that it's a middleware that makes sure we're using the JSON standard. So app.use, it's we're setting up that middleware. We can add another middleware called course. So I'm going to say const course required const, and of course for doing this, I'm going to I'm going to need to install that. So I'm going to say course, and probably that's the version. Yeah, I'm going to trust the version here. I'm not sure about that, but yeah. So what course allows it's to connect without having to worry about the IP or the type of connection we're making. So I'm going to use app course, and for the moment, one other suggestion Copilot was doing was using the .app, but again, for the moment, no. Actually, let me delete this to prevent any kind of problem. I'm going to comment this connection to the database for the moment. We are not going to connect to the database at the moment. Set up the routes. In this case, what we're saying it's use this API task to make the base path. Remember the concept of base path um, to connect to the API. So we're going to open these task routes and see what's happening inside here. And finally, we are saying we are going to listen, and the server is going to run on the port that was previously declared, the one in the process.env or yeah, or .m file, or if not specified, 500. In this case, it's going to be 500. Um, sorry, 5,000. I don't know what I thinking. So let's open the tasks. So for the routes, there are here task routes. Same, we required express and the task controller, right? So in this one, we declare the routes that exist and we make them under one URL. So the router that we export from express.router is going to help us declaring that some of these are going to be some posts, some gets, some puts, and some deletes. Let's see if this makes sense, right? What this suggests is that we used one called API/tasks to create a post. Sorry, a task via a post. And for that, we are going to use the controller create task.bind. That's perfect. What's happening here is that in our router, we are declaring, we have also the controller, and the controller has the built-in functions to make this sense. So we are abstracting the logic to saying, okay, if we have this called, what it's going to happen is that this function is going to be triggered. That's perfect. Makes sense, right? The get, if we ask for all the tasks without a specific ID, what we want to get is a full list of all existing tasks. Okay, makes sense. Also, we can ask for a specific task, right? And we add one thing, that's the ID. This is a dynamic, and you will see this very commonly in the URLs with the double dots here. The ID is going to be a parameter as if we're calling a function. So this is going to be dynamic and it's going to be changed. You will see in action, but I can say here, for example, 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever ID of the task is. Same, oh, sorry, this again. Same as in the example of the JSON placeholder API, where we could pass from 1 to 100. This could work because that's the ID that we're giving. Normally, IDs are kind of more complex. For example, when we are going to use Mongo, the ID is going to be very, very different. You will see. Hey, but don't worry, we will put that attention in a second. Then we can make some changes to our tasks. Here, this is suggesting that we make a change with put. We can say, and we can enter discussions if we could consider making small changes and then doing a patch. But for the moment, let's keep just with this basic. And this it's the basic structure of a CRUD. So we have actually even we are missing where we have one get more. The you may be wondering why two gets and one of the REST, like what having create, RR, read, update, one delete. Well, it's because it just makes sense. In many other applications, we could have many ways to create tasks. So maybe posts. Um, we can have also other creations. For example, if not a task indeed, but I don't know, a comment of a task or a post or anything, or the delete, right? In this case, I want you to make focus on delete, because we are going to do one thing that's not a complete deletion, but we are going to just detach some task from the users. And why is that? Because maybe we want to keep record of every task that's being generated, but we don't want to make a hard delete on the database. We just don't want them to be listed anymore in the user list of tasks. Maybe. Well, don't worry. Again, um, and this file led us to another file, which is the controllers. So again, the controllers is going to be the where these functions for make this possible happens. So at the end, we're going to export this model. It's going to be the routes for the router for the application. So that's what we're doing here, right? We're using these routes. Uh, uh, Text routes, set routes. Actually, task routes. Yeah, this is are called different. Maybe we can check that in a second to avoid future conflicts. But first, we will try to run this. Um, Warning here, it's that this configuration is just one architecture of how a backend could work. If you want, and I'm going to keep with this because it's great. I think personally it's one of the ones I like more. But there are many others. For example, I'm currently working with Nest, and Nest works kind of differently. You don't have indeed the router, or at least the type of architecture which I'm working on. That's DDD, domain driven domain design. It doesn't contain the router. We just handle all in the controller, and then we have providers, and inside the providers we can have things like mappers, facades, or any others. But that could be more complicated. For the moment, don't worry. We're not going to talk about architectural designs of backend or anything related. This one's one of the most basics ones, and that's great because it gives you a great introduction of what you need to do. But also, what we are going to focus here are these the endpoints for a REST application, right? And making in general a crude abstraction. So the controllers, the task controller for this, it's an object, in this case, that has all the functions listed here to make possible the instruction set on the router. So let's return to the routes and see, for example, the first one, post. When we want to create a task, what happened? We have the function create task, and that's this one. So what we do, we receive the request and the response, and the request receives, well, first we try on the model that's saved in the constructor. Well, let me take a look to that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Uh, that's perfect. We passed the body that includes or should include all the things necessary to build a task. Well, what are those things? Great question. And where is that stored? In the model, right? So this is why the class receives as the parameter the constructor, sorry, receives the model, and in this case, when we have completed the creation of the model in our database, then we await and then return the status. In this one, remember the statuses we checked on the Mozilla documentation, and we have specific statuses for specific things, for specific actions. So the general status of a success transaction could be a 200. But in this case, where we are creating the 201 status, it's just a great practice to return. So in this case, we return to the front end the status with a message saying like, hey, everything was fine. Else, no, we're not sending an explicit message, right? But also we're returning the task we are saving. So it's really similar to how the JSON placeholder API was working. Remember that we created or post in that case, and it returned the post created. And in that case, since that was a mock API, we couldn't access that through the get. But in this case, we will. But for the moment, I'm going to comment this. Sorry, to comment this, and I'm just going to say the request body post calls, and I'm going to return task not created yet, right? What else? In the get task, we are going to find in the model that we, again, this model that was set up in the controller, we are going to find all these existing models because this is the list. At the moment, we are going to comment this same and we are going to say get called and the message task not fetched yet. That's perfect. Same as the task element by ID. First, the normal thing was going to say, hey, find this specific ID in the request params ID. If there's a task, the status returns 200 and the task. If no, message error, that's no task found. But in this case, get called by ID. It's called and the same task not fetched yet because we at the moment we're not connecting to the database. We are just going to make the request to make sure this is working, plus making the validation in Postman. Right. That's why I'm commenting all of this at the moment. Same here. Update. We are going to make a query that's called find by ID and update in the same process. That's an abstraction already refined by the Mongoose library, but task not updated yet is what we're going to return. And finally, the put console log delete called and task not deleted yet. That's perfect. We have task controller, and just let's take a final look to how the model look like. In this case, our model of the task, the correct word, yes, it's going to be an schema, and that the title, the description, if the task is completed or the status, and a timestamp, right? Uh, the title is of type string. The description is of type string. It's these both are required. and the completed it's of type boolean, so it can be completed or not directly. Plus, the default of this it's false, and it's not required since not every time we're going to have a completed, right? Perfect. Um, Again, if going too quick, don't you worry. Please let me know in the comments, and I can return and explain anything you want me to without a problem. I'm just trying to go a little fast because I'm trying to cover two sessions in just one. I'm sorry I couldn't find another slot for this other session, but this will be great for you if you follow, and you can watch the recording all the times you want, right? Plus, you will have the GitHub available without the with all sorry the code here. Uh, Perfect. Final. Let's make sure the configuration file for the database it's good. We're going to get the URI from Mongo. We probably are going to save this on .m file. If the connection is established, we're going to say, hey, connection established. It's no yes, and process exit. That again, really straightforward. Plus, the great MongoDB Atlas already gave us this piece of code. We're just like copy pasting, right? Um, Again, for the moment, we're not using the database yet, so I'm closing the configure and the models. So goodbye DB, and we have our environment around here, the packages around this other, and let's try that. Let me just make a validation. Okay, there are some changes. That's perfect. Um, but we are going to cd to backend. In this case, I'm using a mono repo, but I'm going to work directly right now just with the backend. So here I'm going to say npm install, and this is going to take the configuration inside the backend folder for the package.json file. So this is going to install to us um, 19 packages. Sorry, uh, oh no, 125 packages. Here we can find all the information on the log, but some of them are dependencies, direct dependencies, sorry, from the ones we do want, which is Express, Mongoose, and Course. In this moment, we're not using Mongoose, but we will. So it's great, not just being installing and installing, plus no daemon. Uh, Perfect. Let's now check npm run dev. And this is going to, okay, act crash. What's that? Task controller, it's not a constructor. Let's start checking what's happening here. So we have our routes and our models. Oh no, sorry, the controller and the task routes. Router, it's this one. Task controller requires task controller. The controllers. Task controller. That's perfect. Task controller. Tasks controller. It's equal to new task controller. Task controller. It's not a constructor. Um, Maybe I'm exporting that wrong. Export default task controller. Okay. Um, let's say then here for pilot, hey, you know what? Fix. The issue in the provider code is that the method in task controller class are not properly bound to the instance of the class. When these methods are used as router headers in the express, this content will be lost unless explicitly bound to. Okay, makes sense. I don't want that all. So you're saying that if we bind that, this is because we're uh, losing the this, right? Okay, let's check. No, same problem. Okay, maybe then this is the problem. And let me redo this. The issue provide code task controller require a task model. Okay, yeah. Well, that makes sense because yeah, here in the controller we're saying the task model. Um but at the moment, I think I can comment this. Okay, let's comment all constructor. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, Copilot, you're not fixing this well, so I'm going to give you the exact message. Okay, it's exported an S6 model. Export default. We're using required. We need to access the default property of the import module to fix this. The importment stated. Uh, I better prefer changing the export. Okay, that's great. Perfect. And now we have another error, which is cannot read properties of undefined using root, using use, sorry. But the problem then, it's app express was already called. Hmm. Routes, task routes. Here. Yeah. Yeah, well, I was calling that. Task routes. You passing the app. I don't need the app here. Okay, I want to check something about that. That will be in the express documentation. Express is yes. Let me again make my this bigger so you can see better. Okay, come on, Express. I want to check something with you. Oh my god. Okay, it's loading now. Okay, that I think while this loads, that will be a great opportunity for us to take a break. So I just need some water. Uh, uh, I can find the banner for water. Uh, okay, yeah, I'll be back with some water. Thank you. Oh, Hey, and then back. So, um, again, already load Express. Great. Let's see in the resources guide using middleware, overriding, templates engine, advanced topics, app reference, basic routing. No, no. Routing here. Route methods. Hmm. Great question. Let's just verify. We're in 4, Express 4. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Router, express that router. That's what we are doing here. Um, router, router. Create a new router object. Router that will handle any request that ends in bands. Depends on where the route is used. Okay, so task controller route here in the index set routes task routes. Now we need to return the router. Yeah, that's perfect. Already induced address. Okay, I don't know what is that. But hey, we can change the third term. Okay, I think that's all we needed. Um, yeah, you see, Copilot makes mistakes. So let's test this. Let's open our pod. No, postcats. Postman. Let me remove these. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, okay, perfect. It's empty. Uh, 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 make this bigger for you. Great. So we are going to create a collection. This collection is going to be tasks. Let's add a request to that collection. This is going to be a post. Let's create task. The URL for this, it's going to be http localhost. Well, let me just copy directly. Slash API slash, what was it? Tasks. Perfect. So, oh, oh my God! Thank you so much. Yeah, you're right. I don't know why it stopped. Hey, thank you. I don't know why that what stopped. Let me know. Can you do you miss anything here? Okay. Well, thank you, and yeah, okay. I hope you catch everything I was doing. I just created the. I think it was when I opened Postman, right, where it stopped the sharing screen. Do you use Copilot in your daily job, and what did you do before the presence of AI? Um, the answer is yes. And what I did before the presence of AI, well, I did the same, just in less time. I just have to say that. Sorry, in more time. With the presence of AI, I can do things faster, but a lot faster. Uh, Else, I had to be reading a lot of documentation, finding the answers. The power indeed of the AI, it's not the things it does. It's more like the ability to access all the information that you want more quick, right? So it's not about the answer, it's about the questions you're doing to AI. Stack Overflow, OG, yeah, of course. I agree with you. Like you just need to start reading Stack Overflow, read documentation, find some issues on GitHub, see some blogs, and to be honest, AI saves you a lot of time. But yeah, for new incomes, that's a great thing. But we need to keep looking for stuff like right now. Of course, I had to check the documentation because the suggestion of Copilot was missing that. But yeah, that's the answer. So let's send this and see what's happening. Okay, this is a 404. I'm wondering because we may have these duplicated in task. I just want to prove something. That's tasks. Yeah, yeah. So we have these duplicated. So let's remove the one in the router. So right now I don't want these. I don't want these. I don't want these. Oh, and in here we're missing. So the problem was that the base route that we were setting here was um, like not it was not a problem, but we were taking two tasks strings, and that don't make sense for us. uh, but right now if I remove this, that's all, and the connection works. It works really good, but we're doing anything yet. This far, this is our rest, right? So the logic behind that, the logic in more than the connection of the request and response, it's not the API indeed, but it's the backend logic, it's business logic, and it's, well, problem of us now. But the main part was this, the difficult part, creating a server that can get us a message, that can get us communication between two pieces of software. That's the API. That's the magic. So congratulations, you just built your own first API. So we just have 1 hour left. So let's make this quick. Let's create a new. I think I'm already saved this. Okay, perfect. Let's create a new one. This is going to be same ask. message task not fetched yet. Perfect. On the console where this was called, we have the post called, the get called. That's great. I'm going to do one more. Save. This is going to be list all tasks. Let's duplicate this tab. I'm going to say list a task, and this is going to receive one ID. For example, this one. We're going to save this. Oh no. Hi. I okay. I can do that again. Do all tasks. And for this is going to be again one. Okay, this one. Save list a task. Perfect. One more. That's going to be a put for the same with the one. Send. Task not updated yet, but the connection it's fine. I'm going to say that. Let's say update a task. And one more, that's the delete for this. Save and the delete a task. Perfect. So now we have our basic route here. We have all the collection for all existing endpoint we have at the moment. We can test them. They work fine. That's a great thing to have. Also, one thing I like a lot to do, it's set up one, and you will appreciate this on more complex applications. That's just one health check route. This is going to be API health, and the response just to being healthy. Oh, I'm missing healthy. Yeah. Uh, so what's this for? If we refresh the server, we can have one saying no task, no nothing, just health. Oh, I think I'm, yeah, API health. Get, it's healthy response. This is for us to make sure that our backend is working. So you could be making uh, any other request. You can be making internal requests to your services. If you're working with microservice, you could be making either to third-party services, making connection to the database. A lot of things can be wrong here. But the first thing you want to debug, it's specifically the REST connection. So yes, having one endpoint that just ensures that the connection between your front and your application, anything to your backend, it's okay. That's priceless. I mean, I really have to admit, I love having one this beacon of light inside all the massive problems you may be overfacing, right? So having this healthy one, it's great. Hey, can you push code in GitHub? Yeah, sure. I'll be doing that at the end of the session. And the repo for that, I shared the previews, but it's GitHub Alberto. It's Global Hack Week REST intro. So here's the one. Previously, we worked on the reintroduction. Uh, these were some of the things we worked on. This is the backend. At the moment, it's empty, but I will push all the code at the end of the session, right? So let me share to you the repo. Here it is. Perfect. So uh, again, I was mentioning the importance of this. Let's save that. Health, and that's fine. So let's start making our connection to the database. And for that, I'm going to be opening mlh.io slash mongo. Oh no, what was the page for that? Oh my god, I forgot. MongoDB. Oh well, I'm sorry, I forgot the handle. Oh no, yeah, I know what it was. I was doing wrong. It's mlh slash link MongoDB. Oh, SB, I said mlh slash link MongoDB. Yeah, this was the one. Sorry. And here we open the Mongo Atlas. We have offers and products for the students, free MongoDB certification and stuff. So, hey, take a look at this later. Right now, I just want to. Okay, I'm going to sing in. So, let me just pause the stream. I don't want to share sensitive information, so give me a second for that. Uh, you just be missing what I hit my credentials here. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Already, I already linked in. Okay, it's making. Okay, it's asking me for a lot of things. That's great. I mean, I for sure I'm not going to be. So yeah, through auto authentication. Give me a second. A lot of security steps. Hey, but that's great. That's not an issue. I'm not complaining. Hmm. Okay, I can add this now. Perfect. So we're back on track. New streamed Atlas navigation. Okay, for the moment, I'll check that later. I'm going to be adding a new cluster. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, probably because I have these for the beginners one. So let me remove this. Terminate. Yeah, I don't want this. Enter the cluster name. Terminate one. That's loading. Um, okay, build a new cluster. I want the free one. Yeah, this is it. New West Virginia. I'm going to change to AWS Mexico. Okay, not Azure. Toronto, Atlanta. Okay, West Virginia. That's right. Tag optional. I don't want optional. create deployment. So this may take a little second. Okay, so I want to connect through the drivers using Node, using Mongoose. Let's verify the version of Mongoose we're using. 5. Okay, 5.10. This version, it's legacy support. Okay, maybe. Yeah. Okay. And let's open the config to be. Maybe we can upgrade to a bigger Mongoose version. Let's verify that. Let's see what they recommend. npm install Mongoose. Oh, I missed the S. Install. Okay, perfect. Now version 8. Okay, that's great. And let's run development again. And we can close this one. Yeah, thanks Atlas for making me realize I was using a very late version. Install drivers, already installed this. So let's make sure everything here is fine. The required Mongoose, it's being done. We have a function that's connected to B. Um, create a Mongoose client with Monk client options. Await Mongoose Connect. Await Mongoose Connect. To, of course, the URI. Okay, the URI is here. So now, did I hit the damn? No. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. So here, and my URI, it's this one. Perfect. So let's return here. So client connection options are this one, server API version. The options I'm using its new URL, first use unified topology, true, and I'm going to add this just to make sure anything else is a problem. Async function run catch Mongoose connection db admin comment ping 1. Okay, I probably add that too because it's a suggestion here from them. So if everything it's fine, this should return this is great, and catch process exit. Okay, perfect. So here we have that. Let's return to our index, and now we can make the connection to the database. I'm also wonder. Sorry, 30. And this is going to be 203. URI parameter to open URI. What's that? Inside what? Mongo connection failed. The URI parameter to okay. Got undefined. Maybe that has to do. Run that. Connection failed. The URI parameter to open URI must be string got undefined. Okay, I just want to check. Console log connection to Mongo and process them URI. Okay, that's wrong because this is not being read supposedly. So yeah, it has nothing to do with this. I'm going to say this should be better returned here. URI, URI, here on index, const dot m require dot m dot f config. Use the value from dot m. Let me see. There's no any other comment. Perfect. Okay. Let me remember how dot m package worked. Usage. Oh yeah, still the same here. Uh, uh, well, we can do this instead, and it says it's the same. Yeah, and I need to install, of course, npm dot m. Oh yeah, and I'm finally missing here on connection to the database saying process that m over here. Perfect. So connecting to MongoDB, I have this warning: user new URL parse is a deprecated option. Oh yeah, probably because these ones were actually suggested by Copilot, and probably they are old. As again, I was mentioning, this takes code from many different options. This is the official now suggested way to connect. So let's keep on that. Let's refresh. Connection failed, but out. Authentication failed. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Um, for that, let's make some changes. Replace the DB password with the password from the DB username entered database. Ensure any option params are your own code. Oh, okay. That's great. Uh, um, so let's say done. Here on the cluster, connect, add data, edit configuration. Oh no, there's no security, database access. I think I had one called something like admin. So if I come back and say this again, perfect. MongoDB is now connected. Um, Again, so let's return to the clusters. Start checking collection. Uh, um, Connect, view, monitoring, browse collections. Okay, there is no data this far. So now we have our connection established to Mongo. Uh, let's check on, we can close this. Task routes, we can close this. Controllers, let's start modifying the controllers to actually making things. So on constructor, let's fit this with the constructor. Let's delete these previous and uncomment these others. So now for the task controller, we need, sorry, for the task routes, we need to pass the model. And for that, const task model required from this. I'm going to pass that as a parameter of the task controller. Let me now test on Postman, create task. I'm going to add a body. This is going to be again raw of type JSON, and let's make sure we're using the task model. So we need to pass a title. Title. Finish the front end. I'm going to pass a description for the REST workshop part 2. And I'm going to pass a completed, and this is going to be false. Well, actually, I don't need to pass this. So let's send this and see. Title, finish the front end. Description for the REST workshop part 2. Completed, it's by default false. I have an ID and some metadata that was the created and updated at. I have also a version that's some internal for MongoDB. I usually tend to delete this, but at the moment, let's not put that much attention there. And here on the page, let's refresh, and you will see we have now information there. So we have our task collection, and I have a document of the first finish the front end part um, document. Yeah. So right now, if I come back again and get a list of all existing tasks, well, before doing that, sorry, I need to correct the routes here for the controllers, sorry, for all the rest. So let's do that. Let's uncomment this. Let's delete what we had previously. Delete this. Delete this other. delete this, and uncomment this. Perfect. Now, yes, let's add another one. Check or validate all all endpoints in Postman, and I'm going to say once done, let's move to frontend. I created that. I now want, well, let me just copy the ID. Okay, now I'm going to get the list. In this case, this is a short list, of course. This is a list of two elements. One task is finish the frontend, other task is validate all endpoints in Postman. I'm going to retrieve a specific list, a specific item from that list, which is a task called uh, validate all EPs in Postman. I'm going to update that. How I need to update that? I'm going to send in the body again the raw JSON. I'm going to say completed and true. I'm going to send that. Perfect. Now completed is true. So if I call this again, it refresh, you will see the completed attribute. Now it was turned to true. It was created at one specific time and it was updated another time instead of, for example, this one. If I find the finish the front end, if I call it, you will see the created and updated time are at the same. So one last part I like to do, it's simply test the delete send. If I get the full list again, so this is return to one since I already completed the previous one, right? So delete again, it's something I won't be using that much since for many of your jobs you probably heard these that you needed to conserve all data, no matter if you don't want to display it, but do one thing that's called like logic deletion. So you don't show it anymore, but you store it. So you probably for deleting, you won't be actually deleting from the database. So the delete method will be that, but here the delete it's actually not going to perform the dash deletion model. What it's going to do, it's I don't know something about like instead of deleting deleting the task, move it to another collection called deleted task, for example. Yeah, another. Sorry. And here, this it's going to say, hey, I want to create the deleted task model, creates the task. This previous task was removed, and etc. etc. Right? So, um, at the moment, let's not do that. Actually, let me remember how was this. Oh, I cannot remember. Sorry. Here in this point we were. Uh, okay, perfect. Uh, and the comment I want to share with you is this or similar. Perfect. Instead of deleting the task, move it to another collection, call the task or similar. That's my recommendation. You'll probably be doing that in real world scenarios. I have a question. In production, we have replaced the local host to OG URL. In production, yes, actually, there is here. So this is going to be, for example, if you deploy this on, let's say, albertotaskapp.com, well, the API is going to be albertotaskapp.com/API/help, similar to this, for example, again, the JSON placeholder example. So this is going to be JSON placeholder page, the base URL, but the API is here, API/posts/1, for example. Or posts. How was it? Okay. To do's. Post. Yeah. Yeah. JSONplaceholder.com/post. Sorry, I was adding the API. But yeah, in this case, it's up to us how we structure that. We can remove the API as in the JSON placeholder example, or we can keep it. That's up to us completely. So yes, in the production environment, here instead of localhost and port, this full deployment it's going to be where this is stored. So the if we do this in Netlify it's going to be give us an address, that a URL or DNS. It's just like an address of how things live on internet, and that will be the case for what we need to call the endpoint. It's just an address. It's just a direction we need to look for, right? The specific path of the endpoints are these ones. Um the endpoints live inside help, living inside task, and so on. That's why we call this the router, right? Um, so great question. Thank you for asking that. Perfect. So with that in mind, I think we are ready to continue with our front end. Perfect. So let's close that for a second. Let's get status to verify everything. It's good. Slides PDF, slide HTML, the package JSON, the README, the source, everything source should be added. Yes. So let's cd git status, all inside the backend, and modified was the backend slides. Um, git log. I just want to make sure that part one. Oh yeah, but I think I didn't push this. Well, git add everything. Git commit instead of down part one. Let's send backend ready. Perfect. So let's move to front end. And inside of front end, here as let's ask a pilot. Okay. Let me close what we had at the moment. Front end. Perfect. I have my backend ready for the tasks app. Now I want a simple next JS app that with tailwind that consumes that backend and shows the tasks and allow me to perform all group operations. Perfect. For the one with the question, Sarah, about do you use Copilot in your daily job and what you did before the presence of AI? I want to return to that because, yeah, I use Copilot a lot. Uh, I used a lot of AI helps. And what do I did before that? It's, again, I want to be really, really, how to say that? I want to remark a lot that having the ability of doing these kind of things with this fast, it's just amazing. I find very challenging reviewing, for example, hackathons right now and trying to decide whether or not they are like cheating because they created the project sometime before, or they were working on it previously, or they genuinely do that with, for example, the help of a AI. I was telling these one time. I remember I was sitting in a room with many other judges, and someone told like, hey, no, that's impossible, they could not do that in just this weekend. And I was like, no, they could. I see that completely possible. And I, over the time I being part of judging in hackathons, I was like, first, when I attended my first hackathon, I spent the whole weekend doing a login, just a login. Then things like Firebase appeared, right? And then you can do a logging really quick, not with AI. Firebase even didn't use AI. It was just a simple way to connect your API and have the ability to um, check user and password really simple. Well, if the integrations in the internet through APIs to other cloud services, because remember at the moment cloud was a really huge thing, and software as a service and a lot of things that were like available publicly, and made your life easier, so you didn't have to do a lot of things manually. uh, it was a very huge advance. Right now, the with the power of AI, you can do a lot of things faster, lots of things faster. But as you see right now, they commit a lot of mistakes. You have to be really aware of what you're doing. You need to debug them a lot. uh, there's a point where probably it's the trade-off between how much amount of time I want to waste correcting the output of this and trying with inputs and so on, and how much of time I want to create my own code and be able to have like great suggestion of Copilot. That's why I think Copilot is my favorite one, because it's not just like give me this and you have the answer and the output and that. It also has the ability to have a conversation, not just code outputs. It has the ability to make small suggestions to completion. So I think it's a very complete tool, um, compared to others, of course, and not so much powerful if you think of the model it's using, because I know there are other more powerful ones. But yeah, that's a very interesting thing. So I think this is a very interesting question. Thanks. Also, okay, let's continue. We first need to initialize the app. I am on frontend already. It tells us to create via npx create next app latest cd2 task frontend. Okay, for this I'm going to just use this. and say here, then install Tailwind PostCS and Auto Prefixer, configure Tailwind CSS, create globals. For the globals, set up the. Okay, let's do that. Do you want to proceed? Yes. Perfect. So I have frontend. Okay, no, what's that? The directory frontend contains files that could conflict slides, either trying to use a new directory name or remove the files list about what? What? Why do we? Okay, no worries. I'm going to delete slides. What? Well, and just to move slides to one step before, and now L. Okay, now create the this one. Would you like to use TypeScript? Yes. Would you like to use Link? Yes. Would you like to use Tailwind? Yes. Yes. Source? Yes. Upload to yes. Turbo Pack? Yes. Custom? Uh, no. Okay. Okay. It's doing a lot of things. Mm. While it is loads, I need to do another quick break to go for more water. So give me a second and I'll be back. See you in a minute. Hey, I'm back. So this already loaded. It says a lot of packages with added. That's great. Success. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's then do one thing that's called the npm run dev. Perfect. This is on local host. Git ignore already. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to check. Package JSON. Let's see our local host. Oh, it was open. Okay, give me a second. Here, local host. Next, J star, blah blah blah. Okay, we have that. Now let me move the slides to here and test if that could be a problem. Okay, no, think it didn't matter. That's great. So let's hurry. Let's hurry. Let's hurry. Let's hurry up. Here, let's tell Copilot Okay, what was this? Okay, we need to add a task page. Set up the task page, create pages, task file. Okay, my base next. Yes, my base Magix project is ready. Help me correct all necessary files to have the app task app. Okay. While this loads, I want to know, since we're running out of time, probably be doing really this fast. The only thing that's going to happen is that we are going to have a code that makes the same, but in a visual way that Postman is already doing, right? So we created successfully our deployment, sorry, our backend. Unfortunately, we didn't have the chance to make the deployment, but we have these connected to our local host, so we can make the request properly. We have the connection to the database. We make how this was affected in the database. We make the creation, the reading of them, the updating, and even deleting, since I already mentioned that you probably won't be doing these directly to the database, but some tricky things about it. So let's see the compiler things. Okay, we need to install some other dependencies. Perfect. Tailwind config file. Oh, there's no tailwind config file. Or it is. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Used one references. Make. Okay, allowed. Hmm. Come on. Till when CN's install it's remaining, that's why you can see config file. Oh, it's remaining? What do you mean with that? Package JSON. Tailwind still says it's already installed. Yep. Okay. Update table config file. Source app. With me. Tailwind CSS install is remaining. That's why you can't see Oh yeah, I get it. Um, okay, if I already installed Axios, that's it here. I already installed that, but probably what I'm missing is this. npx npm error could not determine executable to run. npm error, a console log of this. Okay, npx tailwind css. Yeah, I get you what you're meaning. Okay, I thought I had it. Yeah. Okay, that could be. Okay. You know what? Let's just do a simple vanilla JS program. DDNS for consuming the backend. Vanilla JS front for consuming the backend. And that's why I need to delete all of these changes, these cardinal changes. Yeah, move to trash. I don't want them. Delete. And the context, it's going to be the hold front end, back end. Okay, I need to hurry. Give me a second. Do I have class before this? Okay, it's Jocelyn coming up, so I better hurry up. Yeah, I like that. So let's create a new file, gets index.html, new file called index.js, and styles.css. Also, this is main, sorry. Main, create the index we mentioned in the index one. Let's just paste that in the main. Let's paste this other in the styles, this one here, and here Let me open copypad. Return here. You failed me. Okay, let's inspect to open the console. Make this a little bigger. Here on console, I just want to see the network that's calling the local host. Just for that, let me ensure that's being called. This is under 3030, and I need to run, of course. I'll do this in another terminal because this is for frontend. This will be for backend. Oh, Rest npm run that. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to refresh this and test all EPs in front. Add task. Okay, this failed because an invalid or illegal string was unspecified. Okay. Document get element by ID, task list, app URL, common F. I need to see where this is being called. Fetch task. Fetch task. It's called initial. So, of course, here I need to add a console.log fetching task initial. Yeah, and I have an error here. um, HTTP localhost 300. I can remove that. In the index HTML, I'm calling the script app. Yeah, that's a problem. Um, Maybe I need to call that again. App. Perfect. So if I refresh this fetching task, I have an undefined because probably response awake, response JSON task, common next here, console log of the tasks. And I'm going to render tasks since these are this. I need to pass the proper information, right? So I have an array of the objects. On the object, it's give me this. Let me copy the message. I'm going to paste that. Okay, no, that won't work. So render task, receive task, task for each task.name. I don't have a name, but I have a title. Title. Task title. Let's see if that worked. Finish the front. Perfect. Okay, so we have our connection established, and this is still the same. For me, I will be leaving that as it is. Still need to finish the front end, so that's accurate that we have that in our task list. Uh, I can do that in another moment, but for what we have currently, we run out of time. we did our best or great thanks to Copilot for helping us setting things up quickly, and I think thanks to that we managed to complete the backend in very decent way. The front end still needs some help and some validations, of course, but currently it connects to our backend through the API that we just made. So we made a RESTful API from zero here directly in less than 2 hours. So congratulations! I'll be pushing the code directly to the GitHub I previously shared. This is the link. Remember that, and before I forgot, of course, I would like to share with you the feedback. Sorry, the feedback link, so you can help us telling us what you think about these sessions. And the link is this one. Thank you so much for joining. Remember, leave us a message in the feedback. We want to know what you think. And I hope this session was worth for you. You learned something. Remember, you can always watch the recordings of the part two and this part. Sorry, of the part one and this part two. Also, I have another session coming up on how you can create your own Pokédex. That it's going to be a more funny one, not so serious, but also I think very instructive. Next, we have Jocelyn, then me again, and then Asiman. Jocelyn is going to tell you how you build your API using Fast API. Then I'm going to say how to build a Pokédex with the Poké API already existing. Then we have Asiman with Tetris Minivan, and then introduction to clustering algorithms with Steven to finalize day 4 in Global Hack Week, right? So more streams coming up. Thank you. No, thank you, Philip 44. So thanks a lot. You bring amazing audience. See you later. Bye.